This is Candy Apple TV with DIY Queen Diva. In this helpful pink candy apple tutorial on how to create perfect candy apples, I will be discussing the importance of achieving full coverage for your candy apples, how to rid excess candy from the bottom of your candy apples, how to tackle the problem of translucent candy apples, and importantly, how to avoid having candy apples with bubbles. These tips and tricks are the key in helping you avoid mistakes when making 12 flawless candy apples. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with the latest tutorials and updates. Here I have 12 Granny Smith apples. If you notice, I have all of my apples flipped over upside down. These are the wooden sticks that you can find down below in my Amazon bake shop that I am inserting. The reason for the apples to be upside down is to level out the apples since they are different sizes. Here I have my candy apple cleaning method. Combine 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and 1 cup of lemon juice. Reduce lemon juice to 1/4 cup if preparing fewer than 12 candy apples. Let the bubbles settle before placing on the stove. Stir. Bring candy apple cleaning solution to a boil. As you notice, the first few apples, I didn't let the water get good and hot and bring to a boil. This is because I want to show you every step in the candy apple cleaning method is important. If your water is not at a boil, you will end up with bubbles on your candy apples. Just watch. Just to let you know, the hot boiling water helps strip down the wax on the Granny Smith apples. So this is why it is important to bring the candy apple cleaning solution to a boil. Take care to ensure top of apples are fully dried to avoid any bubbles, because this is the common area for bubbles. Now my water is at a boil. Dip your Granny Smith apples for 6 seconds and then dry off with a paper towel. To ensure the apples remain crisp underneath the candy and not overcooked, dip them in the candy apple cleaning method for 6 seconds only. Insert straws into candy apples on day 2 to protect from water damage during the cleaning process. Shake apples to ensure the paper straw or wooden stick detaches prior to dipping in the candy apple mixture. I dry my apples off one more time right before dipping my apples. I only use the best candy apple recipe when making 12 to 24 candy apples, and that's using the 641 candy apple recipe. That's 6 cups of sugar, 4 cups of water, and 1 cup of Karo corn syrup. This candy apple recipe will ensure 12 perfect flawless candy apples without the requirement of reheating. When reheating candy apple mixture, your second batch won't be as good as your first batch because it will have a light burnt taste when reheating again to another 300 degrees. This is why I use 641 candy apple recipe. when I have 12 to 24 apples to dip. My candy apples are not burnt. My candy apples are not thick. And speaking of thick, if your candy apple mixture looks like that, your candy apples are going to be thick. Now, if you are able to stir your candy apple mixture like this, in which everything is free and flowing, you will have the perfect candy apples. It may take a little longer to cook, but I would rather have perfect candy apples. I love using butter vanilla, so I am going to use about 2 teaspoons. I use 1.5 or less than 12 candy apples, and up to 2 teaspoons for 12 to 24 candy apples. Comment down below if this candy apple tutorial is helpful. Let me know down in the comment section. If you're just starting out making candy apples, it is vital to invest in a candy thermometer for the best results. Trust me, I know from experience that trying to make candy apples without a thermometer can be a disaster. To demonstrate the importance of the candy apple cleaning method to avoid bubbles on candy apples, I will skip a few Granny Smith apples I have already dried once. My candy has reached 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Here I am giving this candy apple mixture a light amount of Hobby Lobby's bright white and soft pink gel food coloring, so you can see how translucent candy apples can be if you don't add enough white gel food coloring, but not too much, in which makes your candy apples thick. Remember when I didn't let the water come to a boil or wipe down the apples correctly to the first few? Just watch what happens. Here's what the Hobby Lobby's gel food coloring looks like. This is the soft pink, and then Hobby Lobby's bright white. However, my preference of white gel food coloring is Wilton's white icing, and it will be delivered later on today from Amazon. This is the first candy apple that I will be dipping, and it will be translucent. You may not notice it at first. However, you will notice that the candy apple is translucent once I add more white. You will be able to compare the translucent pink candy apples versus the non-translucent pink candy apples when they are side by side. In order to get a full coverage on your candy apples, you need to tilt your candy apple pot until it looks like the candy is about to come out the pot. You don't want to do it like this because you will not have a full coverage. You want to take that apple and you want to dip it all the way down as far as it can go in the candy apple mixture and rotate your apple. And you should be able to get a full coverage like this. Perfect. A full coverage. Now all this shucking and jiving I'm doing, I gotta add more white gel food coloring to this candy apple mixture because right now these candy apples are translucent. So if I'm doing all this slow poking around, shucking and jiving, and able to get 12 candy apples without reheating my candy apple mixture, surely you will be able to get 12 candy apples, but even more. If you take a look at this candy apple right here, you notice it's translucent and you have that extra candy on the bottom because I did not scrape it well. That's what causes the extra candy on the bottom. Now compare these apples to the translucent apples and you'll be able to see the difference. And you notice how I am scraping the bottom of the candy apples really well, not to have that extra floppy bottom on the bottom of my candy apples. This candy apple recipe can get you up to 24 candy apples. Let's recap. I added the white, just an extra light amount of white to prevent my candy apples from being translucent. Are you comparing the non-translucent candy apples to the first few that are translucent? Do you see the difference? Let me know down in the comment section if you can see the difference. This is one of the apples that should form bubbles on it because it's not properly cleaned well. So it should form some bubbles after sitting. Remember to get a full coverage on your candy apples. Dip your apple all the way. First tilt your pot, then dip your apple all the way down as far as your apple can go down in the candy apple mixture, and then rotate your apple like this. Scrape off the bottom of your apples really well to avoid the extra candy on the bottom of your pink candy apples. This candy apple recipe is so amazing. As a result of using 641 candy apple recipe, I was able to produce 12 candy apples without the mixture solidifying into a brick-like texture. Now let's take a look at the bubbles on the candy apples and translucent candy apples from not properly cleaning your candy apples well. This is what happens. This is what happens to your pink candy apples when you do not add enough white nor scrape the bottom of your candy apples really well. You have translucent bubbles and a big bottom on your candy apples. Follow these steps to avoid mistakes as a beginner on making 12 flawless candy apples. If you have enjoyed this candy apple tutorial, make sure you stay tuned to watch my next candy apple tutorials coming up right here on Candy Apple TV. I'll see you in a few seconds over in my next video.